Hi there, I'm going to give you a quick run through of the StockTrim inventory forecasting platform. StockTrim is an inventory forecasting platform. We solely focus on providing you automated forecasts for what stock you're going to need in the future. The way that we do that is that we bring in 4 sets of data. We bring in your product information, including your current inventory on hand. We bring in up to 2 years of sales history, sales transactions. We bring in open purchase orders that you've got out with your suppliers, and then any other background data points like supplier MOQ or minimum stock levels that you want to hold. All that information gets imported into the platform, and then the forecasts generate automatically from there. The StockTrim platform is quite simple. There's only 3 levels to it. So there's the order plan, the dashboard, which you can see on the screen now. Then we drop down to the second level, which is the order plan. And then there's the individual SKU level detail that backs up the order plan. And we'll run through all of those features over the next few minutes. So just quickly on the dashboard, we have some quick metrics at the top of the screen here. So we show how many SKUs that we're importing from your ERP system or from your data source. We work out potentially where you're going to be overstocked over the forecast period and by what amount of value. We do a stock out risk calculation. So we look for any SKUs that have the potential to run out over the forecast period and what amount of sales margin that you're potentially going to miss out on over that forecast period if you don't go away and start ordering product. And then we also look for any SKUs that have never been sold. Underneath that, we look for any products that, underneath that we have SKUs that are the fastest moving, SKUs that are the most urgent to reorder, and SKUs that are the most stagnant. And for wholesalers or distributors or e-commerce retailers, this is a very useful section as it basically enables you to see very quickly what stock is not moving, and then you can take that information out, go and run some promotions, and try and get these SKUs moving, and then realize the value that's tied up there. If we just check quickly about how to load data, so we currently have integrations with these 6 platforms and also Deer inventory about to come online. So there's APIs already set up. All you need to do is to come into one of these icons, depending on which system you use, enter your API ID and key information, then bring in the data points across here, and your information will load across automatically from that point. The first, depending on how many transactions you have, the first sync between your inventory system and StockTrim may take some time, say between 15 minutes and 30 minutes to an hour. But then, if you're refreshing on a daily basis, then that will only take sort of between 3 to 5 minutes each time. We can also bring in information via CSV files as well, and we've got templates and file specifications for the information that we need down here. So looking at the order plan, this is where all the individual forecasts are generated, based on the data imported. And at the top of the screen here, we have the ability to come in and search for various information that's required, just to help you drill down into specific sections if you don't want to look at all the information. So you can come in and look at specific and search by item name or item code. You can search by the location of where the stock is stored. You can search by the supplier of the goods, and you can also search by the category of products. And this category is preloaded, in your inventory system already. We just bring that category information across. We also have these built-in filters here, or the ability to categorize the information in a different way. So in this case, we're looking at all the products, or all the forecasts. You can look at the ones by fastest moving, most urgent orders, most stagnant, most valuable, excess stock, where there's stock out risk, and SKUs that have never been sold. If we look at the SKUs that are the most urgent to reorder, and we can handle SKUs that are part of a BOM structure, so that you're building up from raw materials into a finished good, or if you're just importing finished goods and reselling them, we can also handle that structure as well. So in this case, we've got a pin that is used in a built item. That completed item is a tent. This tent, for example, is made up of 7 components. So we can expand that out and see the forecast and all the information for those 7 components down here. We also show the amount of each component that's required to be built up into making each tent. So in this case, I need 20 units of each pin, 8 pieces of each rope, etc., to make up a finished tent. if we look at this windbreaker jacket, for example, and just talk quickly about the information that we're bringing in and displaying here. So these 6 columns are the information that's coming across from your inventory system. So we're bringing across the item code, the item name, the amount of stock currently on hand, the per unit cost, and then the value of that total inventory on hand. And then we're also bringing in from your system the lead time to get new product in from the supplier. And this is one of the most vital pieces of information that we need, as this will drive the entire forecasting process. Here's the information that StockTrim is generating from what you've brought in. So we worked out that we were expecting to sell over the upcoming forecast period 264 units. That's our forecast demand. We're expecting to sell just over 4 units a day. Based on that, we've got 1 day worth of stock left. StockTrim has worked out a reorder point. So this is where we should have started reordering stock of 385 units for the SKU. And because we're well below that amount at 5 units, StockTrim is now saying that our recommended order quantity is 245 units. So we're recommending that you go away, order 245 units, and by the time that stock arrives, you'll have enough stock on hand to get through the upcoming sales period. And as you can see, this is how we generate a forecast for each individual SKU. It's all automatic. Once the information gets processed, the demand is calculated and the order quantities are processed and recommended for you here. So if you see a column here that or a number that is in red, that's a recommended quantity that we're saying for you to go away and order that amount of stock. If we look at excess stock, for example, all these amounts are in green, and that's showing that you've got units in excess and you don't need to order anything currently, because the amount of stock on hand is higher than the reorder point, so you've got stock in excess. If we just go back to our windbreaker jacket SKU and we'll drop down to the 3rd level. So this is the individual data for this product, which is helping make up the forecasts. So the blue line here and the data up the top here is the actual up to 24 months of sales transactions, monthly summaries of those sales transactions, showing how much that SKU has sold. The pink line and the data through here is forecasting out 24 months in advance to show you the forecast that StockTrim has generated based on the current information that's been provided. So if I scroll through here, I can see that we've got a forecast for this windbreaker jacket right out to March 23 in this case. If I scroll back, and you can see here that we've entered in some values manually. So if I know that I'm going to be running a promotion over July and August, for example, as I've done here, I can come in and enter new values where I've seen, okay, I need more stock than the 37 and 40 units that StockTrim is saying here. Because I know I'm running a promotion, I'm going to bring in 300 units and 400 units. And when it comes time to ordering for those months, StockTrim will see those new amounts and use those as part of its forecasting calculation. We've currently got our auto model applied here. We're looking for seasonal sales trends and looking to apply that in future forecasts. And you can choose how many months of sales history that you look at. So instead of the full 24 months, for example, in this case, I'm looking at only 12 months. In this case, I've also applied a 30% growth rate to the SKU. Here's the rest of the background data points that we can look at here. So I've got our forecast lead time here. So this is the amount of time that it's taking to get product in from our supplier. Here's my stock on hand currently. If we had stock out, if we had a purchase order issued and there was stock due to come in, that figure would show up here. Here's our cost information and our selling price. Here's our lead demand. So this is the amount of sales that StockTrim is expecting us to make. Here's our buffer stock, which is there to handle any unexpected sales activity. Here's our supplier MOQ of 60 units. We can also put in a batch size if required. In this case, I've got minimum stock level and a maximum stock level as well. So StockTrim is always looking for these data points to help drive and refine the forecast going forward. So in this case, I have to order at least 60 units from the supplier each time I order. I always want to have at least 50 units on hand, and the maximum that I can hold at any one time is 250 units. StockTrim is recommending that optimal reorder point be set at 385 units based on what's required. And so based on all the other information here, StockTrim has worked out a reorder quantity of 245 units. So if we go away and order that 245 units, we'll have enough stock on hand to meet the lead demand over here, but also meet our requirements down here. Below that information, we show all the individual sales transactions for the product. And if you have events like a one-off sale, or you're doing clearance events, or somebody comes in and takes out a lot of stock, you don't want that to affect the forecast going forward, for example. So what you can do is say for this 48 units here, I can come over here and exclude that sales transaction. And when StockTrim is generating its forecast, it will no longer see that sales transaction and won't include its activity in its forecast going forward. So it's a very easy way when you have anomalous events, for example, to come in and edit those out so they don't adversely affect the forecast going forward. Just turn that back on. So there, as you can see, there is a lot of fields in here that you can come in and edit over time as you learn the system to help refine the forecast going forward. And we really encourage you to come in and edit and update these fields as as you become more comfortable with the platform, because that will really help to help refine the forecast going forward. And that's basically the core functionality of StockTrim. It's all about generating, the reorder point here and the optimal reorder quantity over here, and doing that as automatically as possible. So, we get your data in, we process it, and we generate the forecast for you automatically. And then you can take that information out, take it back to your own system, and start ordering the quantities involved. Thank you. If you have any questions, please email them through to info@stocktrim.com, and then we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.